Today we're going to be talking about what I believe to be the biggest mistake in the way that accountants especially, but a lot of different business owners approach marketing and sales, right? They look at marketing and sales like it is some sort of art form, that it can't necessarily be explained, that they don't look into the metrics, to the nitty gritty, to the details in terms of what's going wrong and how can I fix it, how can I improve it. They simply invest some money, put it into some sort of marketing activity, whether it means Facebook ads, trying to achieve some sort of final outcome, and they don't get the result that they want. They don't get the return on investment that they want. And they look at that and they say, okay, well, I guess marketing or digital marketing just simply isn't very good. And that's completely ridiculous to me, because that's not how you approach anything else, really. It isn't how you approach, especially things that you know. When you have specialization in something, you always have an explanation for it. And that's a very key thing to note. The reason you're an expert in that field is because you do have an explanation for it. You do have reasons. You have metrics. You know if something's working well and if it isn't. And if it isn't working well, how do you improve it? All right, so basically I like to tell people to approach their marketing the same way a programmer approaches a problem. Right, if you give a programmer a very complex issue to solve, they'll look at the issue, they'll understand it, and then they'll create pseudocode. Now, pseudocode, the name suggests, it isn't actual working code. It's just kind of definitions. It breaks the problem up into smaller issues. Usually, smaller problems that usually have one objective for each subsection, right? And you achieve, and then you work to achieve each of those individual objectives. And when you put it all together, it'll then hopefully achieve the bigger objective of what you're looking for, right? They don't just try to put a bunch of code together. It gets way too confusing. It's very hard to troubleshoot. It's very hard to improve things. And let's say that they do that and the code isn't working as it should. Well, they'll look at what they expect the answer to be and the answer that they're getting. And then they'll say, okay, well, this is clearly an issue in section C, right? Because section C had this objective and this outcome is showing that this is the issue within the code. So they'll go there and they'll fix that, and guess what? They have a great working code. So the key message there is look at marketing, break down the objectives into smaller measurable metrics, right? So you're in control. So you can't just say, hey, I've put money in, I'm expecting to get a positive ROI, and if I'm not, then it's not working. That's absolute crap, all right? You should really be looking at it and saying, breaking things down, saying, okay, let's look at our marketing. I want to make more money. Okay, how do I do that? Okay, how do I do that? Okay, let me break that into different areas, sections, and we'll create a process of trying to achieve that. Okay, it's based on logic, on numbers, on finances. That's what you should be basing your marketing and sales on. And to be honest, that's what you should be basing basically everything in your company in. And I'm sure you do it for a lot of stuff. You probably just don't do it for marketing and sales. All right, so let me talk about a bit more about why you shouldn't, the way that people go wrong. Okay, so like I've said before, you put investment into a marketing activity and you expect a certain ROI. But marketing here, hopefully you can see it, is just a box. It's a black box. It means you don't know what's inside. And because you don't know what's inside, you can't problem solve. Now, as a business owner, you've made a commitment to trying to know more, to putting more effort in than other people usually put in. Right? If you're just a normal person who's doing a job, you don't necessarily need to know much else than what you're doing. But as a business owner, you need to see the bigger picture. And that means understanding the overviews of many different sections and areas. And that includes marketing. Okay, so it's not enough to say I'm going to put advertisements in and get a payout. That you can't do enough with that. All right. So before we get into what a real example is, and try to ignore this stuff for now, it's probably looking very confusing. I want to talk about a diagram that I saw. This diagram I first saw in a great marketing book made by Sabri Subri, who's a marketing expert, a genius. And what this diagram is saying, it's skepticism versus trust. Okay, so when a prospect first makes contact with you, they're highly skeptical about whatever you're going to try and sell, right? And they don't trust you because they don't know you. So if you try to sell someone here, there is a very, very, very low chance that you will make the conversion into an actual sale. But if you can somehow flip it and make them not skeptical about you and trusting you to a high degree, then you have a very, very, very high chance to make a sale. So the goal is to simply take them from a high skepticism level to a low, and take them from a low trust level to a high trust level. Simple as that. And then you try to make the sale. Notice how I've already started to break it down, right? I'm saying we don't want to make a sale here. And every subsequent step is about moving them in that direction. Okay? So when they have more trust, you can start selling yourself a little more. But when they have little trust, you shouldn't be selling yourself at all. So it's like, okay, well, what do you do in these initial steps? Well, let's go through it. So this, I want you to look at this. I know it's very smallly written, but here we've got, it's equivalent to this, okay? We've got an initial investment into a box, all right? So this box is equivalent to this marketing box, and then we've got a return on investment, okay? Coming out that way. Okay, so I've already broken this down into 5 different sections. And before that, let's set the objective, the bigger objective for what we're trying to achieve, okay? Remember here I said we're just trying to make more money, more revenue, okay? Obviously, make more profits based on what we're spending. That's not good enough, okay? How can you increase revenue? You can increase it by selling a specific product. You can try and upsell your current clients to another product. You can try and improve the incentives for current clients to go out and bring their network to you as clients. There's many different ways. You've got to be specific. Okay, so in this case, we're saying the objective is to increase sales for product A. Okay, let's just say for some product A. Okay, so let's look at this first line. Okay, and you've got to bear with me and please follow what I'm saying and don't just look at the whole thing. So the first line, we're going to break this into 5 different sections. Ad 1, landing page 1, email sequence, landing page 2, and strategy call. Okay, so let's first look at this first column, ad 1. Okay, what is the goal? What is the one objective? Remember, let's be very specific about what we're trying to achieve. It's not to make the sale, right? Because ad 1 is the start. It's the start of the customer's journey with you, and they're very skeptical and they don't have much trust. So if you try to sell them, people don't like to be sold. They're out. They're going to step out and they'll be like, I'm not interested. And I'm probably not going to be ever interested in this person because whenever I see them or see their brand, I'm going to think that I'm trying to be sold to. And people don't like to be sold to. They like to be helped. So what do? We get a click. And how do we get a click? We provide something that's of interest to them. Okay, maybe it is a article that's giving them some sort of hints or tricks, or it's an information article saying these are the 5 worst things you can do for your business. You know, like you're giving them content, you're giving them valuable information. You're not trying to sell anything. You're not saying anything about your product. You're not saying anything about your services. You're not saying anything about your brand. You're simply providing them with some free information. And they're like, okay, well, I like that. I'm interested in that. So they click. And like I said, the only goal is to get a click, nothing else. So they click, and that's a big tick, right? If they click the ad, awesome. So a click will lead them to some sort of page, right? You're sending them to traffic somewhere. And we're going to call this the landing page, okay? So what is the goal of a landing page? Okay, well, depending on what you've done, what we've said here is the landing page number 1, the goal is to get a lead. So we want them to give us their email, want them to give us their first name. And that's it, the sole goal. So what do we put on this landing page? Do you put information about your product? Do you put information about your brand? People don't like to be sold. They're still very skeptical and they don't trust you very much. They don't care about your product or brand right now. They don't trust you. Why would they give you their email? They would give you their email if you're providing something of value to them, directly of value, okay? And that is something like I said, the article. So let's say the article ad brings them there and they're saying, okay, when they read it and they're reading the landing page and like, okay, this looks really cool. This is what I'm going to get. If I give them my email and my name, I'm going to get this article that has all this kind of information. Great. I want to read that. That's going to be valuable to my business. So they download, they give you a lead, then they move to the email sequence step, okay? And the objective here is to nurture. What do I mean by nurturing? Once again, you're not selling. Do not sell. Do not sell your service. Do not sell your company. Do not sell your brand, please. Because if they see those things, the worst thing you want from an email is for people to see it in their inbox and ignore it. Like subconsciously, they just ignore it because it's like, oh, it's not worth it to me. But and trust me, emails are probably the biggest part, like the biggest section out of everything when it comes to digital marketing. So there's a lot to this, but I'm simplifying it because you don't need to know the nitty gritty of it. You just need to know the overview. All right, so email sequence is about nurturing. Once again, it's all about providing value. Remember, we're trying to move this person here across the line. We're trying to move them up to here before we try to sell them. So through the emails, through every email, let's say it's an email sequence of 5 different emails, okay? We're trying to move them slowly through the step, and you do that by providing value. You don't sell to them. You explain things to them, maybe tips and tricks, maybe important information, maybe if they're out for, and you have to link this as well to the bigger, you always have to link the content to the bigger objective, right? And that's product A. So if you're trying to sell let's say you're an accountant and you're trying to sell bookkeeping work or tax return, right? Maybe in one of those emails you say the 3 things you need to be careful of when entrusting an accountant to do your tax return work, right? That's value. That's value. You're not selling your product. You're positioning them, but you're not selling your product. You're giving them free information, and they'll read that and they say, okay, so these are things I need to look out for. And of course, the content has to be good. If it's not good content, don't bother. But you guys are surely, if you're watching this video, experts in your own right, and you can use that kind of information to help the people that you're trying to sell to. So you're providing value, free value. Once again, you're not selling your service. You're not putting a bunch of buttons saying like, oh, discount here or buy this, buy that. You're just informing them. You're giving them value. Then you move to landing page 2. So at the end of this email sequence, the goal is to send them to another landing page. Now, what is the goal of this landing page number 2? It's to book a strategy call. Okay, so you want them to book a meeting with you so you can talk about their business, what they can do better, what they're doing really well, and just how to help them in general, help their problems. Now, see, when we've asked this, they're already moving towards a high trust and low skepticism state. So to ask them to book a strategy call, you have a high chance of converting that. You really do, right? If you would ask for a strategy call over here, how many people do you think would have done it? You would have had very low conversion rates because once again, they're skeptical and they don't trust you. Why the hell would they get on a call with you? But after all these emails, after this, they've read this article, booklet, ebook, whatever you put out there, and they've gone through all your emails and watched some videos and stuff of just content. They feel like they trust you because you've been educating them and you've been helping them. You've built rapport with them automatically. You haven't even directly contacted them, but you've built rapport with them, and they're not as skeptical about your product because you've kind of explained through the nurturing phase why your product is important without you actually selling your product. And that's the key thing. So landing page number 2 should obviously, your result there is you want them to book in a strategy meeting with you. Okay, then we go to the strategy call. Finally, now we close the deal. The goal is to close the deal. At this stage, they trust you a lot and they're not very skeptical. Now, a lot of salesmen, especially traditional salesmen, will say this is kind of a goal of what a salesman should be doing, right? When you talk to someone, you make sure that they understand the product, that they're not skeptical of what you're selling, and that they trust you. So it's important of how you build the rapport and the conversation goes, right? But you're only calling them up, you're only having a conversation with your prospect at this stage. They already trust you. And to some degree, they also trust your product. So you don't, and I will add as well, like in this landing page 2, because you're booking the strategy call to eventually sell them a product, you can give them a bit more information, right? And they're not going to be scared. They're not going to be frightened from it because now you're trying to say, oh, well, this is kind of what we do. And in a way, instead of them viewing it as I'm being sold to, they're going to view it as, oh, this person's trying to help me. And this is a product that may actually genuinely help me because like I said, they trust you. Okay. So in the strategy call, it's very easy to make the sale because you don't have to fight the trust. You don't have to say, oh, do you trust me? If you don't trust me, what do I need to say? If they're skeptical about the product, you don't need to really try to sell the product. You just say, okay, what are your specific needs? And this is how the product can help your specific needs. Okay, very simple. So all of a sudden we've got this well-defined box for marketing and our marketing activities. And this is where the magic happens, right? So let's say we've got specific objectives. Let's say that you've done this and you're saying, I'm not getting as many sales as I want, okay? Now, instead of just saying the marketing isn't working, you can actually break that down into many different reasons, all right? Specific reasons. It could be because you're not converting enough of the strategy calls. It could be you're not converting enough of the people aren't booking, the people who visit your landing page, not enough of them are booking for a strategy call. You could say that the email nurture, not many people are opening up your emails. They're not even reading the emails. They're not interested, right? They could say that maybe you're getting a lot of people to your landing pages, but not enough of them are actually giving you a lead. Okay, so all these things can be explained all of a sudden. And so you go into troubleshooting mode, just like a programmer would. Okay, let's look. We've got 50% conversion rate on our strategy calls. That's pretty damn good, all right? So no need to look at that. We've got a 50% conversion rate on the people who visit our landing page, number 2. 50% of them book a strategy call. That's a great conversion rate. Okay, great. So we're going good there. The email sequence. Okay, we've got a very high rate of opens. Like a lot of people are opening all of the emails and they're reading them all. And a lot of people are clicking. A lot of people are clicking the link at the end of the email sequence, are clicking the link that sends them to the second landing page. So these are all great. That means, okay, great. This entire part is working really well. Okay. But we go to landing page number 1 and we're saying, oh, we have a low conversion rate. So the amount of people that visit this page, maybe only 1% are actually giving you their lead and information. And that's a low number. You want to really get those numbers up 10, 20%. And so that's a really low number. And it's like, okay, well, think about it. If you've got 1% conversions here and you're getting 100 people going through, you're getting 100 emails and you've got 1% conversion here. If you can get 10% of emails, well, then all of a sudden you're getting 1,000 people going into this section here, right? Okay, so just to let you like visualize how that really changes everything. And then we go to the ads and we say, okay, we've got a low cost per click. All right, that's a term for marketers. Cost per click. So that means I'm spending a low amount for every click. Okay, so to get someone to click on my ad, I'm not spending much. So that's a good sign. So let's just say step 1, 3, 4, and 5, they're doing really well. And we can see that they're doing really well because they have measurable metrics. And they have measurable metrics because they have specific, defined objectives. Okay? And we know that landing page number 1 is not doing very well. Okay, well, there we go. Let's troubleshoot. Let's figure out how to fix this. And here's where the magic happens. You don't need to know how to fix it. You're a business owner. You're not a marketer. You don't need to know. You get your team to do it. You say, okay, guys, like clearly this, and this is doing really well, but we need to fix our conversion on our landing page. What can we do? And then you start a discussion. And maybe people are like, oh, maybe I spoke a bit too much about the product. I can try talking about a bit more about this, and that. Maybe increase the amount of information that's on that page. Maybe put a video in there. Maybe change the graphics. Like whatever it is, the marketing experts can fix the issue. But you have control, okay? Always have the keys to your Ferrari. The Ferrari is your company and the keys is having control, okay? Great quote that my mentor a long time ago told me. If you don't understand this is having control over your business. This is not having control. You are not able to do anything. You're at the mercy of your marketing employee, your marketing team, or your digital agency. In this case, you can kind of control things. And guys, this is as far as you need to know. You need to know these 3 things. You need to be able to define like the kind of activity, the marketing activity. You don't need to know how to do it. Just be able to know like, oh, we've got a lab, we've got landing pages, etc. You need to know the objectives to be able to get to a sale. And you need to know the metric to define that objective. And that's all you need to know. You don't need to be able to solve the actual issue. You get the experts to do that. But it also means that you can ensure your business is going to improve. Because think about it. Okay, we look at that. It's not working well. Great, let's try and improve it. Let's test some different things. Maybe your marketing team comes up with 3 solutions, they try it, and one of them works. Hey, guess what? Maybe all of a sudden it's like, hey, maybe we can increase this to 60%. Maybe we can increase this to 75%. Maybe we can increase the open rates. Maybe it's endless. This is the mentality of constant improvement. Okay, if you can't measure things and have reasoning behind why things are working or failing, you cannot improve. Okay, this is having control. This is true control. Okay, so hopefully that makes a lot of sense to you guys, and really that is all you need to know. Okay, and I go into depth a lot more in future videos about this kind of stuff, but that's all you need to know as a business owner. Don't fall into the trap of just thinking marketing is some sort of black box that will magically give you results. And also, this isn't a very important thing to realize. Okay, if you initially meet someone, you try to sell them, they're not going to buy your product. You need to build trust and lower skepticism, and this is how you do it. Automated, right? They pick up the phone, your salesman pick up the phone, and they make the sales. Easy. All right, so hopefully this video has really helped you. Hopefully it shows to you that a bad approach to marketing without looking at it in the eyes of a programmer, without breaking objectives into smaller measurable metrics, can really affect your business, right? You're not going to have control over marketing. It may push you away from marketing, but we all know marketing and sales is essential, absolutely essential. And the digital platform is becoming the battlefield for businesses right now. So if you're not on there and you're scared to get on there because you don't understand what's going on, it'll affect your business in a very, very catastrophic way. But if you do these things, you're guaranteed to eventually have a great product. Look, you may not have the best product at the start, okay? But if you have this mentality, you'll constantly improve things. Let's say all of these are actually pretty average figures, right? You can still pick certain things to improve, and you can still measure each certain thing to improve, right? And by that, maybe if your ads are so ridiculously good, you're getting, even if these are relatively low, if you improve your ads, you will get more sales. If you improve this, you will get more sales. If you improve this, any objective, if you improve, will increase your numbers and you will make more sales. So it's a long process. It's a long-term journey for you and your business. And you're also teaching your employees how to take responsibility, to be more independent and to be more competent, right? Instead of them ever being like, oh, something's going wrong, they're going to be like, oh, something's going wrong. What is it? I need to know, how do we improve it? How do we fix it? And if you create that, you've got a very independent team. And that's where true growth of a company really happens, when your employees are empowered and they're competent and they know how to approach things, right? So this approach really works for anything. But this is the details of marketing. That's really, you don't need to know much more than that. So hopefully this video, you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it helped you out. I will be, as you know, I do make videos every week. If you did like this video, please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, give me a comment, tell me what you enjoyed about it, what specific parts you maybe didn't understand and want some more clarifying on. And yeah, if there's any topics that you want me to cover, please let me know. This was actually a topic that someone specifically asked me to cover, so I've done it. So I definitely do respond to these things, and yeah. See you in the next video.